Welcome back, everyone. Grab your popcorn because today's story is packed with shocking twists, emotional moments, and secrets that change everything. Let's jump right in. Let me tell you, when Brook Lynn went looking for Sonny to ask for his help, it struck me right away how some folks in this world just have that pull on people. Sonny's always been one of the most sought-after men in Port Charles, the kind of fella you turn to when your back's against the wall and you don't know which way to go. There's something steady about him, like an old oak tree that's weathered every storm. Seeing Brook Lynn reach out like that told me she was carrying a real burden, something she couldn't shoulder all by herself anymore. I don't know the exact words she used, but whatever her request was, it came from a place of real need. It got me thinking about how even the folks who seem put together still hit moments where they have to swallow their pride and ask for a hand. That takes courage, plain and simple. And in a town like Port Charles, where secrets and trouble seem to pile up faster than laundry on a Monday, having someone like Sonny to turn to can make all the difference. I found myself nodding along, almost proud of her for taking that step instead of trying to tough it out alone. While that was happening, Carly was in a whole different kind of storm. Bless her heart, that woman is desperate to find Jocelyn, and you can feel the worry eating at her from the inside out. She's fed up with being kept on the sidelines, like she's been told to sit still and wait when every mother instinct in her is screaming to do something. It reminded me of how fierce love can make a person, how it turns quiet worry into something that won't be ignored. I kept thinking, if I were in her shoes, I'd probably be pacing the floor too, wondering why the world keeps pushing me out when my child needs me most. Then there was the baby shower for Portia. Now, a shower ought to be one of those sweet, hopeful times full of little booties and happy tears. But in true General Hospital fashion, this one turned into anything but a peaceful celebration. The air was thick with tension, and instead of laughter and cake, there was this undercurrent of trouble that nobody could ignore. It's funny how life works that way sometimes. Even when we're trying to mark a happy occasion, the real world has a way of crashing in with its own agenda. Looking back at everything that unfolded from June 8th through the 12th, it all wove together into one big, messy, heartfelt story. Brook Lynn reaching out to Sonny, Carly's fierce determination to bring Jocelyn home, that baby shower that went sideways, and Chase doing what had to be done. It all showed me how these people keep fighting for the ones they love, even when the road gets rocky. It stirred something in me, a reminder that asking for help isn't weakness, that a mother's worry is sacred, and that even in the middle of chaos, new life and new hope can still peek through. These days in Port Charles sure know how to keep an old heart like mine invested, and I can't help but wonder what fresh twist is waiting just around the corner. This week in Port Charles, from June 8th through the 12th, really had me hooked from the very first scenes, and I found myself talking back to the screen more than once. It kicked off with Laura enjoying a hard-earned victory, but that good feeling didn't last long before a dark shadow fell over Jocelyn. The way the story was building, it looked like her days might truly be running short, and that thought sat heavy with me. These shows have a way of mixing sweet moments with real worry, and seeing Laura's win right next to the danger circling Jocelyn reminded me how life rarely hands us pure good news without a catch. I kept thinking about how fragile some things feel, even when you've fought hard to get where you are. Early on, Christina stepped up with a request that clearly meant the world to her, while Curtis went looking for Alexis's help and steady advice. At the same time, young Kai was carrying around real concern for Trina. It struck me how these folks keep reaching out to the people they trust, even when they're not sure what the answer will be. Watching them lean on each other like that made me think about my own circle of friends and family, how we all need someone to turn to when the road gets bumpy. Those quieter moments at the start of the week set the stage for everything that came roaring in afterward. By Tuesday, things really started heating up. Nathan came forward with an important confession that must have shaken more than a few people to their core. I could almost feel the ripple it sent through the town. At the same time, the baby shower for Portia was supposed to be a bright, joyful celebration of new life, but instead it played out under a thick cloud of tension. There was no easy laughter or simple toasts. You could sense the strain in the air, like everyone was waiting for the other shoe to drop. Sidwell was in a full rage that added real danger to the mix, and poor Willow looked genuinely shocked by something that hit her hard. Right in the middle of all that, Brook Lynn found the courage to offer an apology. I have to tell you, that moment warmed my heart. It takes real strength to own up when you've hurt someone, and seeing her take that step showed me she's growing in ways that matter. I found myself hoping the person on the other end of that apology could see the sincerity behind it. Wednesday brought a whole new level of action that had me sitting up straighter. Carly finally decided she'd had enough of waiting on the sidelines and sprang into motion. Bless her heart, a mother's love will push a woman to do whatever it takes, and I was quietly cheering her on from my chair. It reminded me how sometimes we have to stop asking permission and just follow what our gut tells us is right. Trina made a bold decision that showed real backbone, and I admired her for stepping up even when the choice wasn't easy. Then Dante received some bad news that I know must have landed like a punch to the gut. At the same time, Willow got an attractive offer that could change things for her, but before anyone could catch their breath, Curtis and Portia found themselves in a real clash. You could tell the uneasy baby shower from the day before was still hanging over them, stirring up old frustrations and fresh worries. It felt like the tension had to spill out somewhere, and watching those two go at it made the whole week feel even more real and messy. Thursday layered on even more surprises and quiet moves that kept me guessing. Valentine delivered a serious warning to Carly that made the danger around Jocelyn feel closer and more urgent. It was the kind of moment that puts your heart in your throat, because you know when Valentine speaks up, trouble usually follows close behind. Ava was walking around carrying a heavy load of guilt, and you could see it weighing on her. I always appreciate when these stories show people wrestling with what they've done instead of pretending everything's fine. Sonny got caught off guard by something unexpected, which is saying something for a man who's usually a step ahead. Nina paid a visit to Nathan, and I wondered what that conversation might stir up. On a lighter note, Cody seemed to be making real headway with Molly, and those two young ones, Danny and Charlotte, were busy putting their heads together and making plans. It was nice to see a little spark of hope and youthful energy amid all the heavier stuff going on. Friday brought the payoffs I'd been waiting for, and it delivered in spades. Ethan was carefully weighing his options, trying to figure out which way to turn. Tracy didn't hold back one bit when she laid some harsh words on Willow. She spoke her mind the way only Tracy can, and while it stung, you could tell there might be tough love underneath. But the part that really stood out for me was Brook Lynn going to Sonny for help. She'd already offered that apology earlier in the week, and now here she was reaching out to the one man in Port Charles so many people turn to when they're in a real bind. It felt like a natural next step in her story, and I found myself hoping Sonny would give her the steady support she needed. Seeing her move from saying sorry to actually asking for a hand showed real growth. And it reminded me how sometimes the bravest thing we can do is admit we can't handle everything alone. Then Chase carried out an arrest that had the whole town buzzing, an attention-grabbing move that felt like justice trying to cut through all the chaos. The week left me with a mix of suspense and quiet hope, and I can't help but wonder what fresh surprises are waiting just around the corner. Will Carly's actions bring Jocelyn closer to safety? Can Brook Lynn find the help she needs from Sonny? How will that arrest ripple through everyone's lives? These questions are exactly why I keep coming back, because deep down, these stories are really about the same things that matter in our own families: loyalty, second chances, and the strength it takes to keep showing up for one another. I'm already looking forward to seeing how it all unfolds next week, and I know I won't be the only one glued to the screen, heart in hand, ready for whatever comes.